What's up, YouTube? I haven't been on for a couple minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I don't care. I don't care. I don't know how many minutes I've been off YouTube. Okay, but let me bring up something important. A lot of people, a lot of these establishment Democrats, progressives, right? These TYT listeners or TYT viewers, NPR listeners. And by the way, NPR, if you didn't know, stands for National Petroleum Radio, National Pentagon Radio. You know what I'm saying? National Privilege Radio. Okay. Um, because they cater to the elite. So a lot of these elitist, liberal, college-educated hacks um, are acting like Trump is the problem. He is a symptom of the problem. And the real problem is the Democratic Party and the Republican Party because there's no difference between the two. Even progressive Democrats are frauds. Um, but uh, but I'm here to talk about how people act like people that didn't vote for the Orange Man, but still are evil, are being rehabilitated. So here's one case in point. So uh, basically, my mom's got a nephew, and he has despicable views on foreign policy, on workers' rights, and on unions, and all kinds of things. Um, and he is being rehabilitated by my mom because he didn't vote for Trump, but he's still a despicable human being. Um, and I see a lot of this in these latte liberal, college educated kind of circles, and it needs to stop. I'm an essential worker. We don't have time for this. We don't have time to be lectured by these latte liberals. Um, we don't have single parent in the middle of a deadly pandemic that has very nasty side effects. And we don't have relief for essential employees. And both parties, Democrats and Republicans, are proposing a bill to basically, here's what they want to do. They want to prevent us essential workers who have been exposed to the virus by customers. They want to prevent us from suing our companies for liability. I don't know what the bill's called, but I've seen this from many different sources. There's a bill going around saying that if you were an employee exposed during the pandemic, the Democrats and Republicans don't want you to be able to sue your employer for being exposed to the virus if you're an essential employee. Um, and you're working during a global pandemic with nasty side effects, right? So these people, these Democrats, these corporate Democrats, so-called progressives, there's really no difference between them. They are being promoted and rehabilitated by these college-educated, NPR-listening latte liberals, and also these right-wing Republicans that didn't vote for Trump but still hold despicable views on many world issues are being rehabilitated by these same latte liberals. And these people included John McCain and Lisa Murkowski and um, actually my mom's nephew. My mom praises her nephew. Oh, he's changed. His views have changed. He's not as bad as his dad. Um, and and just because someone didn't vote for Trump doesn't mean they're a good person, right? Come on now. George Bush voted for Trump, and he's a war criminal and despicable, evil murderer. George Bush committed war crimes, and he didn't vote for Trump. So, that's not a benchmark on whether someone's a good person or not. You know, it's this ridiculous pandering, ridiculous whitewashing and rehabilitating by these baby boomer, latte drinking, Ivy League educated liberals that listen to NPR and basically fail to connect with what the average working class essential worker who works 20 to 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, and has to deal with a lot of difficult customers, a lot of difficult coworkers. You know, it's out of touch, is what it is. It's, and obviously I'm not saying like my situation. I'm fairly good situation, I'd say, but it's these latte liberals are out of touch with the general population of lower income folks, including myself. And the only ones that are speaking truth to power are Jimmy Dore and Richard Medhurst. It No matter what the subject is, whether it's on human rights, exposing war crimes by the U.S. regime, or whether it's on the pandemic, or whether it's on the CARES Act and the fraud and scam that the CARES Act was, giving money, the upward movement of wealth. It's the largest upward movement of wealth in American history, was the CARES Act. And that was just giving money to the oligarchs and the corporations and to the Zionist entity at the expense of us essential workers. And you have a lot of Ivy League latte liberals applauding that, and that's something that we need to challenge a lot more. It shouldn't matter if it's a latte liberal from any organization, from whether it be Alaska Sports Hall of Fame or a latte liberal affiliated with a think tank or a latte liberal affiliated with academia. We will challenge the latte liberals, these Ivy Tower, Ivy League educated, war criminal rehabilitating, anti-union supporting hacks at every opportunity. Because as an essential worker, one thing this pandemic has taught me is that as the proletariat in this country, we need to really advocate and push for our rights. We need to push for our rights like Bobby Firmino or Lautaro Martinez counterpress. Okay, we need to have a big emphasis on this, because these latte liberals and the bourgeoisie and petty bourgeoisie, they're in the positions of power. We need to abolish the system and create a new system. You know what I'm saying? And you guys got sold hope and change by these corrupt politicians like Bernie Sanders and AOC, talking about a new deal when they're funded by some of the most corruptest organizations and entities in the entire world, and they're war criminals themselves. And they voted for the Patriot Act. They voted for giving money to the Zionist entity. They voted for multiple illegal occupations of other countries that had no involvement whatsoever with the states, and countries in which the U.S. regime and their Zionist allies committed massive war crimes and atrocities and genocide and all that. So that's who these progressives, Bernie Sanders and AOC and all them, the squad, what I'd call the fraud squad, that's who they are. And they're showing you who they really are. So, and these NPR listening liberals keep rehabilitating them over and over again. And AOC, the corporate grifter she is unwilling to bring single payer to the floor for a vote in the middle of a deadly pandemic with very nasty side effects. And, the fact that the Democrats and Republicans are siding with corporations against the workers that are being exposed to the virus on a daily basis when they're doing their duties as essential workers also is very indicative of the manner in which these latte liberals operate and provide cover for these large corporations at the expense of us workers. Um, what was another thing? I had another point that I think I forgot, but it wasn't about. Oh, and then half of the workers are just so uneducated and dumb to realize that if they unionized, that's the other half of the other half of the equation is that half of these essential workers are too dumb and too uneducated to realize that if they unionized, they could have a say and make some kind of difference. There's just, and that's due partly to propaganda, anti-union propaganda, and um, what's the other half of the? Oh, and then just willful ignorance. Because I feel like if we were unionized, we'd be a lot stronger. Um, so, and just a lot of essential workers in general just aren't cultured and worldly. I don't know whether it's lack of resources, lack of motivation, or lack of opportunity, but um, a lot of a lot of essential workers just aren't in tune with the world, and they live in their small little bubble. And it's time for us essential workers to wake up, burst out of the bubble, and challenge the status quo. And I know I do a good job of pushing the envelope, pushing for change, but I shouldn't be, everyone should be doing their job. I don't want to be the only one doing this, you know. And if I have to be, okay, then I will, you know. But I want other people pushing for change as well, because I feel like if many of us push for change, we'll get change. If many of us want to dismantle the system, we'll dismantle the system. And that's all I have to say for today. And that's how we'll get change. So stop listening to corporate media. Stop listening to these latte liberals. Stop listening to David Sirota or Brianna Greyjoy and these other fraudulent Bernie bots that are imperialist Zionists and ivory tower liberals that have no experience as essential workers. Stop it. Just listen to Jimmy Dore, listen to Richard Medhurst, and just start questioning what Congress is doing, start questioning who they're giving money to. Obviously take your precautions, right? Take your precautions and all that. And, follow science, but follow the money. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the lesson today, and that's all for today. Peace.